Okay, so we're going to go to Shar Kabbanos here on Purim, and we're going over here in this little section right here, and it said so Lama Mikra. This is the secret of Lama Nikras Beloshan Igeret. Well, it's called a letter. So we'll read this. I guess we'll read down at the bottom over here, and we'll go across to the next page. Megila Nikras, and this is the reason Miller is called Ksav. Wrong place. Nikras Igeret. Why sometimes it's called Igeret. And also the Nikra sefer. It's also called the sefer. These two words, what's the difference between them? Yesh dinim geterish v'chsav. Has some dinim like the Torah itself. Ki sefer haTorah yisod the avach hanikras terish v'chsav. The Torah v'chsav is a sefer Torah, and it's a reference to the Yisod of Abba. Surah Sefer Torah looks like a vav aruch along a long vav. Megila he ha'arach yotze bechutz the Yisod keniskar, but it's attached to the idea of Yisod. It is the Megillah itself is lashon gilui, is that outside of the Yisod of the Nukva is where it shines. V'gam he arucha getzuras vav, so also it's long, like in the form of a vav. V'tzuras Megillah arucha. So that's enough. And Rav says that's enough that I could tell you about this. So he says Elu El Hamaskil. So he said V'dai b'ha'aras Elu El Hamaskilim. So people who are smart enough can understand the difference. Now he doesn't really get into the differences here, but let's see what else he has to say. Well, this is the tiv now. Lefi so zecher shabir Rav Zal shemegillahu inyan gilui ha'aras Mordechai. So Megillah is lashon gilui. So he said he ataris Yisod the Abba, which is really the extension of the Yisod of Abba. So now he's going to explain a few things we see in the halachos of the Megillah. So since that's what it is, so therefore it's similar to the Torah, which is also an aspect of the Yisod of Abba. Torah he Yisod the Abba. V'lechein nikras and Megillah Igeret. So therefore, at the same time, it's called an Igeret, which is a letter. Moshe also called Divrei Igeret Azos. It's a pasuk in the Megillah. Is v'nikras gam sefer. It's also called by the word sefer. Shekosach v'nichta b'sefer, as it's written, that it's written in a sefer. The Moshe be'arnach l'zal b'gemara. The Gemara says like this: V'omer Rebbe Chel b'Rav Cham b'Rav Ziguria Amarav. Megillah Nikras Sefer v'Nikras Igeret. So it's called both. And this is a statement over there in the Gemara. He said v'Nikras Sefer chayna shedinik a Sefer Torah, that is a din like a Sefer Torah. Shem tifrach b'chute pishtim pesula. So if you, for example, you meld or sew together the different pieces of the scroll itself, and you do it with linen instead of with gid, which we're going to say, he should gidin kasher. Let me read this back again. Shem tifrel bechuti pishtim pesula. So if you use just all linen, I guess it's a regular thread, it's going to be apostle, v'nikras igeris, and then in that sense, it's going to be a letter. Now, exactly what that means, I'm not sure. So it doesn't have the same chumros as a Sefer Torah, so you don't have to have the whole thing made out of gid. Because if you imagine to bring in 3 chutim of gidim, kasher, it still could be kosher. So it doesn't have to be completely made out of gid. That is the threads that tie it together. So there are different ideas, or different, as we say, something that happens to the Sefer Torah. It's more like Sefer Torah. But Hadam Hu Kanal, so the reason is like we mentioned above. Because it's a light, a shining that comes out of the Yisod of Abba. The Sefer Torah also, so therefore it's similar to a Sefer Torah in the way that it looks, the way that it's laid out. It's in a scroll, and so on and so forth. Shetzuras sefer Torah arucho kamo oz vav. So it's the same thing. It's a scroll, and it's long, and it's the actual body of it. I guess you would say from the top to bottom is long, like a vav. This is a really remiss to the concept of the Yisod, because it is an aspect of the Yisod of Abba, which is in the form of a Vav. It looks like a Vav in the Shefa, so the Shefa is going to talk about this. So the Megillah is actually the aspect of the crown of the Yisod of Abba, that is the extension of the Yisod of Abba, which is the Malchus of Abba. So therefore it has this long form as well. For Megillah, and it's called Megillah, as we know, because it's a Lashon Gilui, Torah L'chutz. The Messiah Rav also, the Rav concludes like this: Shadai b'ha'aras elo, that this is enough. I'm letting you know about this. Ala maskilin sheyivnidach ba'atzman, the maskilin should understand by themselves. Call the pratim etaluyim ba'inyan, all the different parts that really depend on this. Now over here on number Kaf Tes, I think it was a Kaf Ches over here in the Shefa Kavanos. And the Kaf Ches says, V'zecha v'inyan hiyos Megillah nikras Igeret v'nikras sefer. V'lo nizbayar kan, but it doesn't really go into the details of what an Igeret is and what is a sefer. What's the difference? V'lo nizbayar kan ma'adura nikras Igeret v'sefer. So why do we have these two names for it? The Eitz Chaim, so in the Eitz Chaim, it says, a cause of the Yisod of Abba, Kashahu b'makoma, when it's in its proper place, b'soch there anpen nikra sefer, there it's called sefer. Ukashahu b'soch b'nuk nikra geris, and when it's inside of the nook, then it's called a letter. So exactly what the difference is, not really explained that out too well. But he says, Kashuhu b'soch nuk, it's called the Geras, and when it b'soch zer anpen, it's called the Sefer. So it's got more to say. I'm not sure whether it's Sefer, that idea. Now the next part here is a part that I couldn't understand part of it, and I've gone over it multiple times, and I'm going to go through it anyway, and we'll see what it says. In the phrase in the Rav, it says, the Megillah nikras Igeres v'nikras Sefer. It has some dinim like the Torah, like the written Torah. So the inyan ezer of hilchos nog is sefer Torah. What are the halachos in which it has to be handled like it's a sefer Torah? So he says you have to really look over Masha Kosav Ridbo b'chedusha b'chedushas in the Megillah daf Yud Tes Amud Aleph. So he says that my Rebbe told me this. So when we're talking about the body of the Megillah itself, I guess he means that part of the parchment which is as writing on it. You go in shartut, that is the way that's laid out, of the dio and its ink. So then it's in that sense that it has to have the same format as a Sefer Torah, I think is what he means. He's using the word Sefer, but it could be like any book, because in the olden days, the books were all written in scrolls. So he says, Asuchu Kasefer. So for this, therefore, it has to be written, it has to be manufactured, that is the hide itself that's used for it. Shehem Devarim Shebegufa, which refers to the body of it. So if it's not in this way, that it's made out of the same material, similar material, then it's not going to be a sefer. So in other words, you could write a book if it's a letter on any kind of paper. But we're talking about something that's not the body of itself. It's like a letter. So you look close up to read it, whether or not you're standing up, ben omed, ben yoshev, or whether you're sitting down. So there it could be read, that you don't have to have punctuation, below hepsek pesukim, or periods, that you're going to understand what is what, where it starts, where it stops. This is what the Haigon says, that you spread it out like a letter. So it would be just like a letter on a scroll. So when it comes, and he says also, when you talk about sewing it together, that's a part of the sewing that's not really dealing, the sewing itself, I guess he means, is not really the body of it. But it's on the other hand, it's not completely separate from the body. The kamre avicha sefer. So that's like both. It's like an Igeret and like a sefer. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but going on. So then he has this phrase, v'kaimelan the high klala. So we hold it like this general rule. What is that? Masha ein bedaktecha b'chisanrechem to yosechu. So a person's not particular about the fact that it's missing something because it has some errors in it, but mixasa. So in that, so it's not particular. I guess he means to say that we're not particular if it has some mistakes in it. Masha ein came to sefer Torah, which is not the case about the sefer Torah. Shenipsel becomes completely possible, begimel toyus bedaf, if in the page that you're looking at, there are 3 mistakes on it, that makes it possible. Sefer, so this is, when we use the word sefer, doesn't mean like a sefer. Ela bedin kedusha sefer Torah, the sefer Torah, so it has a kedusha about it, like a sefer Torah. Megila, but when we talk about the Megillah, came into the so since it's not missing anything, v'nikrach sefer, and it's called a sefer, it's not something that you can actually recognize. Masha Kazach Kaden, so I'm not exactly what that phrase meant. Again, I'll translate it. So it came into lo chosra, since it's not missing anything. What? The lo chosra inyan, it's not missing anything. I guess of its essence. V'nikra sefer, so it's called the sefer v'ena davar hanikr. I'm not sure what that phrase meant. What he means by davar hanikr. A Masha Kasav Kedin, and what it says, like it has the same din, Lokip Kido, but they're not so strict about it. Keva deika mitzvahs kriyas besum mitzvahs nisa. So therefore, you're actually doing a tremendous mitzvah over here. L'kaim kitzasam, that certain aspect of it is, and what he means by a certain amount. Avsha begufa shav geris behind milsa. So in talking about the body of it itself, it's like a letter. Behind Gilsa Milsa. What the Milsa is, I'm not sure. Because it's not really relatable or understandable so much. Of Yerushalmi Amrin, and in the Shalma we say like this: Ein bein Sfarim, the Megillah says there. Elishachas Sfarim nichtavim b'kol lashon, could be written in any language. Megillah's Esther, the Hashurish is only written in Ashuris. This kind of language that we're using now. Pirish l'Rabbanan, Hal l'Kol Divreichim. So the explanation, according to the Rabbanan, Hal l'Kol Divreichim v'Zechet Shavim. So whatever they're talking about, they're equal. I don't know what he means exactly. Kolom de Divreichim shebegufo mamash gedechsivna. So when we're talking about the body of it itself, it's like we've written Besulo Midi, and there's nothing else I used to say. That I'm poskim Masha Kasav is what is written on that. And I think that's it. That's it for today.